Lots of friends and family members of Michael Jackson have been reaching out to the family in so many different ways. Among them, Reverend Jesse Jackson, based out of Chicago, but he made that special trip to Los Angeles to meet with Joe and Catherine Jackson, meeting with other members of the family. Reverend Jackson has known this family since 1967. So, Reverend, what was that meeting like with this family? And first, our condolences, given you are a close friend of the families, and this has to pain you just like it pains the family members.
Well, it was lots of pain. I called Miss Catherine time it happened, and Joe, and determined to leave yesterday and got out there immediately, and she's still fighting through her tears. She said, I've lost my baby. Michael was a good boy. I loved him so much. No matter what they said about him, he did his work well, and Michael was a good boy. And that we sat in the stillness of that room as she reflected on her life with her son and his challenges as he grew older and became more global. But I must say, with our sharing of grief, I said to her, Sister Catherine, you've had him for a long time, 50 years. Enough is never enough, but Mrs. King lost her son at 39, and Mary lost her son, Jesus, at 33. And Mrs. Teal lost her son at 14. And so you have to take the dose God has given you. And we talked through issues of faith. And I think the joy for them was the response to Michael around the world. While we were there, President Clinton called. While we were in the room talking, he called to offer condolences. The response in Bucharest and Russia and Australia and London, all around the world, it was like redemptive to them. Because after all of the challenges that Michael had faced, this global response to his music just took them to another level.
Do you feel like the family knew, though, how much the world loved Michael Jackson? Ticket sales selling in a matter of, minutes for these 50 concerts that he was to perform on his 50th birthday in London. They may have known how much the world loved him, but perhaps did they say anything to you
maybe
about...
Maybe not this much. Michael's death knocked the Iran Revolution off the front pages.
Yeah.
It knocked the Iraq War off the front pages. It just swept the world because he has been such a pivotal, transformational figure in American and global music. His music has torn down walls and built bridges. We saw these huge crowds of people come when President Barack Obama spoke in Europe, but Michael was in Bucharest first. In many ways, his music became the medium through which so much change is taking place. We are the world, black and white. And he kept making these statements to music and rhythm and rhyme. I think that the agony now is the unsolved issues around what happened to him.
And what does the family seem to believe what happened? Did they know anything about his condition being so fragile that this kind of day would be near? Did they express anything like that?
No, they didn't see him in fragile terms. Michael was training with a trainer 3 hours a day. He was then dancing 3 hours a day. Some of the dancers that flown him around the world, they were 25, and he was out dancing them at 50. So he was kind of on and up. He was on a certain diet and feeling good physically. The idea that they sold out 50 concerts in just a matter of hours, it seems. So Michael was on an up, and then from that high noon to eclipsing of his son, something happened that night. Well, maybe if the doctor said, here's what happened, it may have helped. But the doctor wouldn't sign the death certificate.
Did the family express anything to you about wanting to get a second autopsy on their own? Now the body has been returned to the family.
They have a very able lawyer, attorney, Londell
They
Macmillan.
will be doing that?
Oh, they will, no doubt, get an independent autopsy. But apart from that, again, the doctor didn't sign the death certificate. They did not meet the coroner as of yesterday. He shows up now with a lawyer. What happened?
And that's difficult. That's difficult to confirm. We don't really know the activity of the doctor, Dr. Murray. We do know, because CNN has been able to confirm it, that he has obtained an attorney, a Houston-based attorney. But it's unclear what kind of dialogue has
that itself creates even more suspicion. The attorney is because all these questions are now out there. But the fact
worries
is,
you? That's suspicious to you?
Well, the fact that the car was impounded, this thing has gone from inquiry to investigation. It's taken on a life of its own, and Michael should be able to die in peace. And right now, there is no peace because there's this agony and pain of what happened when and who knew what.
And
none
also
of us know that.
compounding that, perhaps no peace too because of the debt, the $400 million in debt. And now we've seen images today of moving vans going into the rental property of Michael Jackson, but it's unclear why. Do you know whether the family member would commandeer, would hire the moving vans to go in to perhaps take any kind of material possessions, any assets perhaps to protect the Michael Jackson estate? Would you know anything about that?
Michael was in deep debt, but also had deep assets, great assets too, and the tour was designed to address the issue of making the money to offset the debts. He still had the great asset in himself. I mean, he owned the Elvis catalog and the Beatles catalog. And so Michael, I was part of a small financial group working with him on that, and Attorney Greg Cross and Attorney Londell Macmillan. So Michael was overcoming that. Those are great odds, and he was overcoming those odds. I think the issue with happening seems to be something physical happened. We don't know what happened, and we need to know. Michael was not sick before night before last. He was not frail. He was not fragile. And those who were closest to him at the very end, doctor, we deserved from him some answers. I tell you what, the day is exciting. All this global attention, Michael is on center stage again, doing his moonwalk. He is right now in the center of world attention. He would love that.
Well, our condolences certainly go out to the Jackson family. Try to express that when you can next time you speak with them. Reverend Jesse Jackson, thanks so much, and we'll check back with you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.